But I want to talk first to Palestinian journalist, writer, and political analyst who's been, of course, following this entire conflict very, very closely. Yusuf Al Hello, welcome to the Breakfast Show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Yusuf, you've been following this from the very beginning. I know you've been writing and talking about it, and I know that as a Palestinian, that must be incredibly difficult, and I just want to acknowledge that. But I wanted to start by asking you currently, what is the latest on the ground in Gaza as of Monday, the 6th of November?
Well, Israel is ongoing with its carpet bombing across the besieged territory, claiming more lives. The latest is that we're again experiencing telecommunications and internet outage. There's a media blackout. We stopped receiving reports from the ground. Last night was the heaviest bombardment since the start of the war, and more civilians were killed. Now, the international system, if I may say, is in jeopardy because those demonstrators who took to the streets, they've been urging Israel, the UK, the US, and also the UK to enforce a ceasefire. And those demands fall on deaf ears. What's happening in Gaza is beyond imagination. If you imagine, entire residential areas are being leveled to the ground with the latest technology. People are still under the rubble. Many of them died, of course, they were killed. There is lack of basic supplies. There is no electricity, no water, no food. And people are squeezed in some places seeking shelter, such as United Nations schools and hospitals. There is no place is safe. People are being killed in the streets, in the markets, even inside those UN schools. They didn't know where to go. Even when the Israelis, they dropped leaflets ordering people to move from the north to the south, those people were targeted during daylight. So people didn't know where to go. The Rafah crossing is closed. Gaza is a very small piece of land. It's a pressure cooker. And those people in this pressure cooker are being pressed and crushed in the hope that they will flee towards Sinai. This is not going to happen according to the locals. Hospitals are overwhelmed. There are no basic supplies. There are no medical supplies. There is terror. There is panic. There is. Imagine people in Gaza are like sitting ducks being killed.
Yusuf, I just wanted to clarify. You have family in Gaza currently. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I've got my parents, siblings. I was in Gaza 2 months ago, by the way.
Okay. And when you talk to your parents, when you talk to your siblings, and when you hear from them and the people in your extended family and your community, what is your family there? What is their understanding of what Israel's endgame is?
Well, obviously, the stated game is to bring an end to Hamas's rule. But they say, why we are being collectively punished? If Israel has a problem with Hamas, why they are killing civilians? This is the question that has no answer. Israelis believe that all Gazans are responsible for what happened during the 7th of October.
But,
and even an Israeli official is threatening to nuke Gaza.
Israel will say that Hamas built their operations, their offices under hospitals, under schools. That would be their line. Is that an understanding amongst people in Gaza?
Well, obviously, not all people in Gaza support Hamas. People of Gaza were not consulted. They were not consulted. But Israel claims to have the latest technology, precision bombs. They can target militants, and we didn't see militants so far. Over 10,000 civilians killed, including 5,000 children. So Israel cannot justify its killing against the civilian by saying that Hamas is hiding underneath buildings or hospitals or using people of Gaza as human shields. It is Israel who's being using Gaza as human shields for the past 17 years. For the past 75 years, people have been aspiring for freedom and self-determination. What's happening is not acceptable. The world is allowing this to happen because Israel enjoys an impunity. Israel is being given the green light. Israel should differentiate between who's a civilian and who's a militant. It knows it has the latest technology, but it wants to inflict heavy damage. It wants to kill as many Palestinians as possible in order to pressure Hamas to release the hostages. This is the end game. We know that Israel wants to drive the people of Gaza towards Sinai. That's why it is destroying entire neighborhoods Gaza is not going to be livable,
You,
even if the war ended.
Yusuf, your family, are they, where exactly are they? And are they staying put? Are they moving? What are they thinking is the best course of action for them?
So the Gaza Strip is split into two halves, north and south. My family, they live in the eastern part of Gaza. They refuse to leave because they know there is no safe place. If they travel by a car or walking, they will be shot at like sitting ducks. We don't trust the Israeli army. Many places were targeted and attacked. So they are still inside the homes. There are around 1 million. They're still in the north part of Gaza. And they are waiting for the worst to come because Israeli tanks are invaded certain different areas across Gaza, and the worst is to come.
Yusuf, the protests that have happened every single weekend for the last month here in London have had one very loud, very clear message: a ceasefire. And that's a call that has resounded across the world from many from many humanitarian agencies, including the UN. What is I suppose, what is the sentiment from people in Gaza when they look to other Western countries, when they look to world leaders who have not? There seems to be a real reticence from world leaders to call for a ceasefire, to say those words. What is the perception from people in Gaza to that?
The Palestinians of Gaza, they say they were failed by the international community. They think and believe there is international conspiracy of silence. There is international hypocrisy. There is double standard policy. Why Palestinians are treated in this way as other humans? Why they're being demonized? Why the world rushed to rescue Ukraine when Russia invaded Ukraine? What's happening is double standard policy, but obviously they appreciate and value the mass demonstrations that swept across the world. We know and they know that the reason why Israel and the U.S. are not interested in a lull, even not a ceasefire, just because they don't want, give Palestinians a break. Palestinians, they didn't sleep for the past 4 weeks. They didn't have a shower for the past 4 weeks. So they are trying to break the morale and will and steadfastness of the Palestinian people in order to pressure Hamas to release the hostages. This is a collective punishment. What's happening is an ethnic cleansing. It is a genocide according to officials, because this is happening with intent. So the demonstrations will boost the morale of Palestinians on the ground. They urge the international community, please, we are human beings, we are civilians. We did not do the operation on the 7th of October, so Israel must stop its crimes.
Yusuf Al-Halo, thank you so much for joining me this morning, especially at a time when your family, your parents, your siblings are in Gaza, and I understand how upsetting that must
frustrating.
be.
Of
course, and I really appreciate you making time within your own
I
personal...
lost contact with them, by the way, Selma. I lost contact for the past few days. I didn't speak to them, so I'm worried about their safety.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I really hope that you get in contact with them and that your family are okay, and thank you for speaking to us at such a difficult time.